Back in the 1980s, one soap opera decided to mix high-stakes DC politics with juicy family drama. It created a story so ambitious, it ended on one of the most unbelievable cliffhangers in the history of television.
And that quote really says it all, doesn't it? Welcome to Washington, D.C., where the biggest battles weren't fought over legislation, but in the hearts of the city's most powerful families. This was the world of Capitol.
So, in 1982, CBS launched Capitol with a huge primetime pilot, airing it right after an episode of Dallas. They were really hoping to grab a whole new generation of viewers with this mix of glamour, politics, and of course, a ton of passion.
I mean, you can see the ambition right from the get-go. CBS didn't just quietly slip a new soap onto the schedule. No, they orchestrated a massive television event. They got a top producer to go head-to-head with their biggest rivals and kicked the whole thing off in prime time. They were making it crystal clear, Capitol was here to play.
And at the absolute center of all this political drama were two powerful women, matriarchs, who used to be best friends but were now the bitterest of enemies. And their personal fight? It wasn't just some side story, it was the engine driving the entire show.
So on one side you have Clarissa McCandless, she's all grace and family honor. And on the other, you have the completely ruthless Myrna Clegg, who would do literally anything to win. Their feud, which had been simmering for years, just completely exploded when their kids had the nerve to fall in love. It was a total Romeo and Juliet story, but instead of Verona, the backdrop was the cutthroat political world of Washington.
And this wasn't just a feud between two people. It pulled in their entire families. You had the Honorable McCandlesses, the power-hungry Cleggs, and then the poor Dennings, who were always stuck right in the middle of the mess. This tangled web of loyalty and betrayal is exactly what made the show so addictive.
Now, the show may have started with that whole Romeo and Juliet thing, but it was actually another power couple whose romance became the true, unforgettable heart of Capitol.
The love story between Congressman Trey Clegg and reporter Sloan Denning was everything. Viewers were hooked on every single moment, from their absolutely spectacular wedding, which they filmed on location at the actual Jefferson Memorial, all the way to their heartbreaking divorce. They were the super couple everyone was rooting for.
And then, just to stir the pot, a man of mystery shows up. Bradley Lockerman played Zed Diamond, a super wealthy guy with a hidden past and a major score to settle with the Clegg family. He brought this whole new level of danger and intrigue to all the political drama. But, by the mid-'80s, the storylines, well, they took a really sharp turn into Bizarroland. They started pushing the limits of what anyone could believe, and in doing that, they started pushing away their viewers. I mean, just look at this list of pure chaos, a shocking paternity scandal, a secret spy, and even a long-lost Arab prince. The plots got so wild that Ed Nelson, the actor who played Senator Denning, actually quit the show because he was so disgusted that his character had become a traitor. Things have gone off the rails when the actors themselves start walking out. And these crazy storylines weren't just a creative problem, they were a business problem. The ratings just tanked, dropping all the way to a 5.1. That was low enough that some local CBS stations just dropped the show from their lineup entirely. The writing was definitely on the wall. Which brings us to the end. In December of 1986, CBS made the announcement the show was officially canceled. So after 5 years of political drama, family feuds, and all those shocking twists, how in the world did the writers manage to wrap everything up?
The answer is, they didn't. They never even got the chance to write an ending.
So get this, the final episode aired on March 20th, 1987, and it left the audience hanging with two gigantic, totally unresolved cliffhangers. You've got Myrna Clegg vowing to wage all-out war on her husband, and then, in the very last shot of the series, the show's heroine, Sloan Denning, is standing in front of a firing squad. And then, it just cuts to black. That's it. It's such a brutal reminder of how harsh the world of television can be. Fans were invested in these characters for 5 whole years, only to be left with these massive questions that would never, ever be answered. It's really no wonder people still talk about this as one of the most haunting finales in soap opera history.
But even though its run was cut so short and in such a dramatic way, Capitol's impact is actually still felt in the daytime TV world.
And you have to see this timing. It's just wild.
A mere 3 days after Capitol's unresolved finale aired, its replacement, The Bold and the Beautiful, premiered right in its old time slot, and it's been there ever since. The abrupt end of one show literally cleared the way for the birth of a daytime legend.
And you know, the show is also this incredible launchpad for so much talent. So many of its actors, people like Jess Walton, Constance Towers, and Catherine Hickland, they went on to become these beloved, iconic stars in the soap opera world for decades.
So, what's the takeaway here? Well, Capitol is just this fascinating piece of TV history. It's a reminder of a show that had huge ambitions and burned so brightly for a while, but in the end, it just left us with a permanent mystery. It's a story that's not defined by its conclusion, but by the simple, frustrating fact that it never had one.